The sky was glowing with the warm gold of late afternoon when Veronica Hale, one of the country's most influential billionaires, stepped out of her car with her 12-year-old son, Rowan. She had planned this dinner for weeks, a rare pause in her relentless schedule. But just as she reached for the restaurant door, a moment unfolded that would shake her world far deeper than any boardroom battle or headline-worthy deal. It began with a single glance toward a corner table inside, a tired man, cracked backpack, and a little girl trying to hide her tears behind a paper napkin. If you believe in kindness, destiny, and second chances, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Life Spark Stories before we continue. As Veronica and Rowan were guided to their table by the window, her eyes kept drifting back to the struggling pair. The father, no older than his early 30s, with rough hands and weary eyes, kept pretending everything was fine. He smiled through exhaustion, encouraging the little girl to eat even though Veronica noticed he wasn't touching anything on his own plate. The little girl, with her son, caught brown hair, kept stealing glances at families around them, families celebrating birthdays, achievements, and milestones. But her eyes always returned to her father, as if silently apologizing for something she couldn't control. Their clothes were clean but worn. Their shoes were old but carefully maintained. Veronica recognized that kind of pride, the kind where someone has lost much yet refuses to lose dignity. The waitress approached the single dad again, and Veronica overheard the whispering exchange. The father, whose name the waitress addressed as Marek, gently asked if he could change the order because he didn't have enough money for a full meal after an unexpected medical bill earlier that day. He kept his voice low, hoping his daughter, little Aria, wouldn't hear, but she did. Tears filled her eyes instantly. Something inside Veronica cracked. She remembered the early years before her empire was built, the nights she stayed awake wondering how she would feed Rowan when her husband had walked out, the moments when strangers' kindness had been the only light in a collapsing world. Veronica had sworn she'd pay that kindness forward someday. Success had pulled her into a whirlwind that made her forget the softness she once needed so desperately. Until now. Rowan noticed her staring and asked quietly what was wrong. Veronica simply said, "Watch closely. This is important." She walked to the counter, and asked the manager if she could cover Marek and Aria's entire bill, quietly, anonymously. As she spoke, her eyes drifted back to the little family, and she realized something deeper than a paid dinner was needed. Something life-changing, something bold. She approached Marek's table slowly. He looked up, startled, as Veronica introduced herself, though she could tell he recognized her from the news. His posture stiffened with embarrassment. But Veronica spoke gently. She told him she overheard the struggle and asked if he would allow her to do something. Marek's voice trembled as he explained he had lost his job 3 months earlier due to company shutdowns and had been taking on small repair gigs just to get through. Aria's medical checkup earlier had eaten through the last of his savings. He didn't want help, he wanted a chance. Veronica admired that more than anything. So she did the unbelievable. There, in a sunlit restaurant filled with weekend chatter, she offered Marek a job, a stable position in one of her companies where hard work, not luck, determined success. She told him she had once been where he was, and because someone had believed in her, she now wanted to believe in him, covered his face with both hands as silent gratitude overcame him. Aria leaned into her father's side, smiling through tears, hugging him as though the world had shifted beneath her small feet. Rowan smiled too, witnessing a side of his mother he hadn't seen in years. A softer, braver side, and as they all talked, strangers moments before, Veronica felt something she had forgotten: the power of simply choosing kindness, even when no one expects it. If this story touched your heart even a little, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Life Spark Stories. Your support helps us bring more real, emotional stories to life.